When you see the whole world shaking and you feel your heart is breaking, take my hand, no hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feelings we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feelings we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. Okay. It's not exactly 7 o'clock. I looked on my watch there, clock behind me, about 10 to 7. I'm doing a little bit earlier. It's, I'll admit it, I'm a wrestling fan. It's WrestleMania weekend, and I wanted to do this early so I could watch it with my son. So it's a little bit earlier, but not too early. And I'm Chris Gajullo. I am an associate broker for Realty Connect LLC and a licensed referral specialist. And this is my weekly podcast, Real Estate with Mr. G. And it's been a busy week. A lot of things have been going on. Some things we won't talk about, but it's been busy. We are going to talk about something. Well, let me step back. Most of the podcasts are really working with the buyers because it's the buyers who have to, work on getting financing, right? Find out exactly what's their price range, what they can look in, and what areas to look at. And should I go for a house? Should I go for a condo? Should I go for a new construction? It's a little bit more involved with the buyers, I think. And the sellers, they have their house. They want to get the best price for it. But it's a big job itself. Don't get me wrong. I mean, listing a house. But I think the buyers have more hoops to jump through to get where they want. So, but this episode will be headed towards more or representing more of the sellers. I'm going to have one of my viewers who watch Real Estate with Mr. G. She's going to present the question. This is Tanya Jones from Portsmouth.
Hi, Mr. G, and thanks for having me on your podcast. I am getting ready to put my home up for sale. Do you have any recommendations on what I could do so I can quickly sell my house? I thank you so much for your time and look forward to your reply.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. And so we're going to talk about that. So let me show my little intro, and we'll go right into the subject matter. And again, I'm able to find you a home anywhere in the United States. I'm not going to fly if you're looking in Oregon. I'm not flying out to Oregon, but we could talk, and you could find a possible, agent through my website. You'll be given up to 3 different agents to choose from. You could converse with them and then choose the one that really fits your requirements, that you feel the most comfortable with. And that's what I do. Okay. All right. So Tanya brought up a very good question. And let me talk about 4 items that would be helpful in the listing of your home. So let's get that on the screen. And we'll get rid of my caption. We don't need that now. And we can see this bigger. Okay. So spring has arrived, and that means more and more people are getting ready to sell. Spring is usually the busiest time for realtors because it's getting close to the summer. And if the buyers happen to have children and they know they're going to move, they know that they could set the wheels in motion so they could look for a home, get it closed, and then by the end of summer, or by the end of the school year, maybe at the end of June or end of May, they could start physically moving into the new home and get the kids set up for September in the new school system. So spring is usually a good time. Okay, the flowers are blooming and the butterflies are out there and the weather's nice and comfortable. So spring is a very good time. We know we still have complications with the market right now. And I might just quickly, not to confuse you, I'm just going to quickly show you this article here from, this is Business Insider. And this actually came out, I think it came out today, actually. Let's see. Let me get rid of this here. Buying a house is getting harder. Blame homeowners who refuse to move. Okay. And you'll see what was brought up in the other article. This spring, home buyers' demand is increasing and houses are selling faster. It would seem promising. But buyers won't have many homes to pick from, which can lead to competition that keep prices high. Why? Owners are reluctant to sell homes because they would have to give up locked-in low mortgage rates. So we still have the situation where we have I actually see more homes coming on the market, but it's still not the way it was maybe pre-pandemic levels. All right. So we need more homes because we still have buyers out there, but there's a couple of stumbling blocks. And those couple of stumbling blocks is that we still need more inventory. And the sellers don't want to move because they have a really good mortgage. Right? They might have bought their house when the mortgage rates were 3%, and maybe even a bit lower than that. But now, if they buy a new home, they're only with 6%, maybe a little below 6%, but it's a big jump. And most of the times when they move, unless they're a couple or a single person who's getting close to retirement age, in that case, they're usually downsizing and looking for a small house. But for those people who are looking for a large house, we have a family who, when they started off, they had 2 small kids, but now they're bigger. They want bigger rooms. They might have had another child, and so they need more room. So they're going for a larger home that's at a high price right now because of the market and with high mortgage rates. Okay? Just wanted to throw that in now. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have stood on this topic here. But what it's saying here is make sure to get your house out there and sell it quickly. Make sure you give buyers access. And in most situations, that you should use an agent, right, to be your listing agent, you put a lockbox on the door because, and I find this out with a lot of people who I list properties with, they're not aware that most likely your house will be sold with a buyer from another agency. So, for instance, if you work with Coldwell Banker, you're listing the house, there's a good chance that it's not going to be Coldwell Banker that will bring a buyer to the house. It'll be, I'm just going to throw out some names out there: Keller Williams, eXp Realty, Century 21. So, but they have to have access to it. And the way they have access to it is that you put a lockbox on the door. And only agents will have the key, and it's an electronic key, and it's an app that you download on your phone. They will only have access to it. But in the real estate industry, we have a professional courtesy that we always call beforehand before we show a property. Even when I'm out with clients and we're in the neighborhood and I show them the homes that they picked, and then we drive a little bit and we see another house that has a for sale sign on it, and we just didn't pick it up. I will not just go and open it up because, number one, the owners might still be living there. And they always request, that they're given some time to get out, that they know ahead of time and to leave the house, and so that it could be shown. So you don't want to just open up the door and there's people living in there and then they're in their pajamas or whatever. So even when you put a lockbox on, there's rules and regulations. One way how I always protect my buyers so they would not be surprised with an agent just opening up the door is that I put on what's called a CBS code, which is the acronym for call before a showing. And it's usually a 7-digit code. So they need that. And I don't put that on the listing. So they need that code before they could enter the house. And they need to call me. And I could say, hey, when are you going to show? And I want to make sure that it's okay with the sellers if they are still living there. But you want to be able to have them show the house. And when I'm saying, I'll let the house be shown as much as possible. Because people have different schedules. Some people may work past 5 o'clock, so they would like to see it at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then some people would like to see it after work. It might be 6 or 7 p.m. So you have to be, the house has to be available for when people can see it. And then there's make sure your home looks good as possible in the inside. And that's important. And your agent will give you their expertise advice. All right. They'll say updating the room with fresh paint, steam cleaning of carpets, removing clutter from the garage can make a big impact. And a firm belief of real estate agents is that less is more. So if your home has, 10,000 photos of the grandchildren, which we have, it's good to take them down so the buyers can visualize their items fitting there. You don't want the room to look crowded. So less is more. It's more important to show it without your nice little photos of your grandchildren. Clean up the clutter. If you have a lot of these little knickknacks, tchotchkes, not get rid of them, stow them away while the house is being shown. And first impressions really matter. And that first impression is when the buyer's agent is driving up with their buyers and they're looking at the front of the house. So look at the lawn of your house. Does it have to be manicured? Does it have to be mowed? Do you have a lot of shrubbery or weeds along the flower beds or whatever? Make that first impression count. Because if the buyer sees a messy outside, they say, well, if it's messy outside, I can't even imagine what it looks like in the inside. And I've had buyers who didn't even want to go inside after they saw the outside of the house. And it was actually more than the landscaping. The house, just the outside appearance will look run down. And who knows? There might be a chance that the inside will be immaculate. But you don't have any obstruction there. Right? You don't have any reason why a buyer might say to the agent, oh, just forget it and not even go in. So that first impression is very important. And then lastly, which is also now so important, because that crazy buying spree is over, is to price it competitively. You no longer are getting tens of thousands of dollars above the asking price. So work with your agent. Let him or her do this comparative. And most important, when you do these CMAs, you have to look at the photos of the house inside the interior and see what's been upgraded. Okay? Let's see what's been renovated. And that will make the difference in the price. Not as much as the square footage or the amount of bedrooms, the amount of baths, but really if it's been upgraded. It's just turnkey. Those are the houses that the buyers fight over, where you just have to put a key in the door and move in. You don't have to paint. You don't have to steam the rugs. Or that, hopefully has the new premium vinyl in there. Nice new cabinets, nice new sinks. Those are the ones where buyers fight over and get the better price. Okay? So in the long run, bottom line, work on those goals, write them down, what you need to do to make sure that this house is presentable to new buyers coming to view. Okay, let's go back and make me nice and big. And I did a little video, sort of like just doing a review, a summary of what we just saw. And here it goes. Okay, I think that really sums it up about what we just talked about. And I think it really has some good info. And just a reminder that my blog has the spring buyer and seller guides there. Okay. And now it's been about 3 weeks since they came out. But these come out quarterly. So I'll have one for summer and then spring, fall and winter. And it's all updated information about the current market. And where can you download such a wonderful thing here, these wonderful things? And you go to right on the bottom there. It says real estate with Mr. G.blog/resource-materials. But you just go to my page, to my blog, and you'll see the menu bar with those tabs. And you click on that, and you could download them for free. Okay? So let's get rid of this. And I'm here from my producer, William Burgess. We had a good one last week. We had Robert De Niro call in with some questions, and that was really good. Hopefully he'll come back again. Listen and call into the podcast. Hopefully I have more celebrities in the future that will call in. But on Hillsman Williams, it's a group called the Goofers. Is that what that is?
Chris, great news. We have 5 celebrity musicians in the audience. Coming out of Lou Prima's band in the early 1950s, they developed a one-of-a-kind novelty act, playing their instruments while on pogo sticks or hanging upside down from a trapeze. Their musical style was swing, bebop, often with all 5 members singing, harmonizing together. Ladies and gentlemen, the Goofers.
Well, thank you very much for stopping by, the Goofers. So next weekend is Easter. I think I probably will not do a podcast. It's going to be busy. My wife and I are very active with our church, so I think I'm going to take a break and not do a show. I'll do a repeat of a show. Most likely, but I think I will not do one next Sunday, because I like to take my time doing these, and you see all the videos I do, and it takes time to put a show together. So I think I will skip next week. So I want to wish everyone a happy Easter if you celebrate. And I'm going to bring in other holidays, Ramadan and Passover. May be very peaceful and loving. That's very important. And remember, the greatest power we have is the love, and the greatest gift, each other. See you next time.